questions. So we'll start off with Rich Roman. He's our PennDOT District 4 district executive. He has served since 2019 in that position, and he oversees a 6-county area in Northeast PA and is involved in design, construction, maintenance, and operations of 4,000 miles of roadway and 2,100 bridges. And he's served in previous positions with PennDOT as the director of the Bureau of Maintenance and Operations for 5 years. He also worked in Engineering District 8 in Harrisburg for 16 years as the ADA for maintenance, design services engineer, and various civil engineering capacities. He's also a graduate of Penn State and has a degree in civil engineering, a minor in environmental engineering, and a master of public administration. Welcome, Rich. Thanks so much. Chris Kufro, who is our District 5 executive, acting District 5 executive director. He directs a team of 84 PennDOT employees and 17 consultant project managers responsible for planning, programming, and delivering transportation improvement projects in Berks, Carbon, Lehigh, Monroe, Northampton, and Schuylkill counties in Pennsylvania. He joined PennDOT in 1997 and has held several positions, including the acting district executive right now, the acting assistant district executive for design, as well as the district executive for design, bridge squad supervisor, district geotechnical engineer, and district bridge engineer. So lots of varied experience there. He's a graduate of Drexel University, has a degree in civil engineering, and is licensed professional engineer. Mike Rebert, who is our acting District 6 district executive. He has worked with PennDOT since 2008 as their District 5 executive and is currently acting in District 6. He's got a 30-year PennDOT degree, PennDOT career, and as a civil engineer, and he worked previously as a highway maintenance manager for PennDOT's Chester County office before returning to Lehigh Valley, and has just served great community involvement as well as on a number of associations. Mark Compton, who's the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission Chief Executive Officer. He began serving in that role in 2013 and has over 2 decades of public and private sector experience in transportation and administration, government affairs, and construction. He is also a graduate of Penn State University. And he previously served as PennDOT's Deputy Secretary of Administration and was previously a Director of Government Affairs for American Infrastructure Highway Civil Construction Company in Worcester, PA. He also worked in various public and private operations, focusing largely on transportation, construction, and economic development. And he is also the current president of the International Bridge, Tunnel, and Turnpike Association, or IBTTA. Lots of great experience and knowledge to share today, so I will hand it over to Rich. All the others, if you would like to turn your camera and mic off, you can, and then just kind of come on as it's your turn. Go ahead, Rich, take it away.
Thank you, Amanda, and good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure here for me to be addressing the ASHI National Conference. It's something that I'm proud to be a part of, and I'm glad to be here, and hopefully I could convey some of the issues that we're dealing with here in PennDOT's Engineering District 4. For those of you that don't know or are unfamiliar, the District 4 is one of 11 engineering districts that PennDOT has to oversee the Commonwealth's highway transportation system. For us in District 4, we're in the northeast corner of the Commonwealth. We cover 6 counties. Lackawanna and Luzerne are large urban areas, and then it's followed by more rural areas in Susquehanna and Wyoming, Wayne, and Pike. So we're in that corner up there with New York State. As Amanda mentioned, myself and my team, we oversee about 4,000 miles of roads, about 2,100 bridges, a large interstate system. We have about 185 linear miles of interstates in District 4, which is quite a bit with quite a bit of traffic, and to deal with those issues, it's something that keeps us a challenge. We have about 800 employees in PennDOT Engineering District 4, with an annual budget of about $300 million in federal and state money each year. As it relates to District 4, I've been in this position now for 2 years. And over the last several years, we have been really looking at retooling District 4 and its operations, and really refocusing on things that we need to do a better job at, quite frankly. For us, our high level goals are really focusing on the interstate system here. Again, with 185 miles and a lot of interstate lane miles and bridges, we have to make sure that we keep that trunk of our tree, the heart of our network, operating safe, maintainable, reliable. So we have a lot of projects, and I'm going to get into that more as we move on. Next, we have to deal with our overall bridge issues here in the district. With 2,100 bridges, we're sitting at about 20% of those bridges rated as poor by deck area, and about 15% of those rated poor by count. So we have some things that we need to address as it relates to bridge priorities, dealing with the issues that come. Last evening, we got several inches of rain, and this morning we are dealing with several bridge issues that are related to that. So when we see several inches of rain and other things that come along, we know we have the next few days of doing some cleanup and keeping a focus on our bridges. So interstates, bridges, next would be really focusing on our maintenance staff and getting back to basics, cyclical maintenance activities, routine activities, things called standard of care, making sure that things are done at certain periods of time throughout the year, and really focusing on the need to do the right maintenance activity on the right infrastructure to extend its life for as long as we can. I'm sure we're all going to get into this and talk about funds and talk about money and how we're moving forward as an organization here in the Commonwealth. But to me, one of the simplest things we could do is maintain our system to the best of its ability, and do the things such as sealing and crack sealing and shoulder cutting and pothole repairs and all the things that we could do to extend the life out of the bridge, to extend the life out of a pavement, and really maximize the dollars that are so precious, that we need more of, to maximize them to the best of our ability. Another high level goal is really making sure that we are successful in winter. To me, success of a district, especially District 4, starts with a successful winter. And we're coming out of a winter that was very busy for us. We average about 40 inches of snow every winter. But this winter, we had a range of about 50 to 90 inches of snow in our district. In some areas in Pike County, they had 36 inches of snow over a 48-hour period. So that's something that was really impactful for us, but we were prepared. We had situational awareness. We were making sure that our crews were there. But when you have winters like that, there's no additional money that comes with it. So that means we may have to defer other projects that we wanted to do this spring and summer. But for us, being successful at winter is the start of all of it. And that's something that we're taking pride in, and really refocusing on that awareness of winter and being successful and making sure that we have things in place to keep our system open and running during those times. And then perhaps the most important thing, and maybe I should have mentioned this first, is really safety. And the reason I didn't mention it first is because safety is in everything that we do. Every activity, every meeting, everything that we plan, everything that we are about here at PennDOT and in the Commonwealth is about really safety at two levels: safety of the traveling public, and then also the safety of our employees. And everything that we do, whether it's talking about budgeting, planning, winter, programming projects, delivery of projects, everything has a safety component to it. And every discussion that we have, every opportunity that we have, we talk about safety. And we talk about safety of the traveling public and our staff. And it is still a challenge. Just about a month ago, we had an employee get struck on one of our highways when they were doing a certain type of bridge repair. And the gentleman got struck by an over-wide vehicle that was coming through and sort of driving erratically, and he hit him. And this employee has so far been through several surgeries, has to do a lot of rehabilitation, and is looking at an 18 to 24 months of rehab and rehabilitation to get back to some sense of normalcy in his life. When we have incidents like that, and I've been through those in my career, as most of us unfortunately have, we did after action reviews, and we found out that the work zone that we had up was right by the book. We actually had an additional crash vehicle to help delineate traffic. Everything was right, and we still had an accident. So for us here, we're reeling from that a little bit, and we're trying to find out what makes sense to move forward, because there is plenty of need out there on all of our highways. And to have a work zone that's set up to the T, to the book, and still have an accident, we're concerned. We're concerned about erratic driving, distracted driving, and all the things that come our way. So when we talk through projects, we talk through winter and the interstates, safety's in every part of our discussion, and that's something that I'm proud of, because we need to make sure we take care of the traveling public and also our employees. As it relates to District 4, some update on some of our business. In our design side of our business, we do about 50 to 70 projects each calendar year, depending on the flow of funds, for about a value of $150 to $200 million a year. We're going through a tip update as we speak, and our tips have largely been bridge tips, if you will, still addressing our large structures all the way down to the structure that's 20 feet and carries a couple hundred cars a day. So we have a lot of bridges on our tip. We have a lot of bridge priorities on our program to make sure that we're addressing those, so they don't become zeros and ones and become emergencies. We have a lot of interstate reconstruction projects in our pipeline, to the tune of probably several $billion over the next 12 to 20 years of reconstructing Interstate 81, sections of Interstate 84, and sections of Interstate 80. So we have a lot of interstate work in our pipeline, and we're really actively engaged in addressing the condition of our interstate system. And then with the money that's left, we're able to do as many other things as we can: milling and resurfacing, base repair, guide rail contracts, safety improvements, intersection improvements, all the things that encompass, a surface transportation program in a district. So we're very busy at this point. We rely on a lot of consultants for help. In District 4, which is 6 counties, we have 93 active consultant agreements that total about $400 million worth of design work. And when you think of that is a big number to me for just 6 counties in the Commonwealth, and the amount of work that we need and the amount of help that we need. So one of the things that we're really proud of is the working together aspect and components of our staff in District 4 and our consultant staff, and making sure that we have those teams firing on all cylinders together, and really pushing to get these projects delivered. We have a lot of open-end agreements that allow us to do things that come our way in a quick hit status. And we're starting to use more CMCI agreements for our projects, because we're just starting to get to a level of projects in construction that it's tough to handle with all of our forces. We have about $600 million of active construction projects in our district. And we have, like I said, several $billion coming down the design project development process. So we are going to be actively looking at CM and CI opportunities. Other things that we're focusing on our interstates, and we're going to touch on this, is the Major Bridge P3 initiative through our Alternative Funding Office and our Pathways program. We have 2 bridges that are in the 9 bridges to be tolled: Interstate 81 in Susquehanna County and Interstate 80 in Western Luzerne County. And we're going through the process, working with Ken McLean and his office in Harrisburg to work through the Pell, to work through public involvement, and to see if it makes sense to toll these bridges, to look at the way we fund transportation in the future. So we're excited to be a part of that here in District 4. Again, we have a tremendous need for our interstate system, for our bridge system. But what I'm proud of in the 2 years that I've been here, we have some great people that are fully engaged in making us better, fully engaged in delivering the things that we need to provide a system that's safe and reliable and maintainable. And we do that with a lot of our partners on the construction side, with our contracting partners, on the design side, with our consultant partners, in maintenance with our vendors. You know, we don't do this alone. We don't just do it with the 800 people that work for me in District 4. Those 800 folks are supplemented and supported by hundreds more of consultants and contractors and vendors. And we're proud to have those relationships because we need everybody rowing in the right direction to make our system better. And we're hopeful over the next 4 or 5 years of continuing this approach, being aggressive, looking at projects and getting them to the finish line, that we're going to see that system turn a little bit and improve. It's like turning around an aircraft carrier. You don't just do that on a dime. We have a lot of history here at PennDOT, and especially in District 4, and the system doesn't just improve overnight. But I'm comfortable and confident to know that my staff here in the district understand what we need to do, and we're all working towards doing that. And to me, that's a great feeling as a district executive, knowing that we have buy-in from staff that live in this district, work in this district naturally, but you know, they use that system every day, and they want to be proud of it too. So for us, we're excited about that. The last thing I'll mention before I turn it back to Amanda is, in our district, we're starting to see a lot more development and the use of highway occupancy permits for these developments. A lot of our eastern half of our state has been kind of built out over the years, from Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley, and now they're making their way north to our area here in Luzerne and Lackawanna County. In Luzerne County, we have the benefit of having the intersection of Interstates 80 and 81, and there is a lot of ground, and there's a great pool of workforce. We're currently dealing with several large traffic improvement studies that are looking to put about 35 million square feet of distribution centers within our area. So we're working with those partners to tie transportation and the economics together in our economy and get things moving again. And we're excited to be a part of that. And we're hoping to do things the right way and to do it safely, so we all could live and kind of coexist together with all the development that's coming our way. So we're excited about the future here in District 4, and I'm again, I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm grateful to be in this position, and I'm grateful to be here today and to talk with everybody here at ASHI. So with that, I want to thank everybody for their time and attention, and I'll turn it back to Amanda for our next speaker.
Thanks, Rich. Great update. Thanks for all of those remarks. And again, if you have questions directed at Rich, please post them in the Q&A. Next, we'll have Chris Kufro for District 5.
Thank you, Amanda. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here today. Hope you're all doing well, staying safe. I'm the acting DE for District 5. So for those who don't know, that is the middle part of the eastern side of the state. Similar to District 4, we rely a lot on consultants for help with the district. So first thing I want to do is just thank everybody here who played a part and all your help over this past year, helping us move the transportation program forward. It's definitely been a challenging year, to say the least, and we've adapted well. We have, similar, I listened to Rich go over his presentation, and we have a lot of the same issues, challenges, the priorities, and the same safety concerns that he just discussed. And I'm sure Mike Rebert has the same in District 6. But I'm going to start off just talking about, just go through some things going on in our district as far as, start off with just the staffing. And I think a lot of us are dealing with, and this is going throughout the state, and I'm sure the whole consultant community is dealing with it too. We have a lot of retirements. We're losing a lot of that experience and institutional knowledge. So one thing, since we rely on consultants, we do need that help from the community. But on the positive side, District 5, we have a lot of really good newer people. You know, they have that 5 to 10 years experience. They're in key positions for us. They're doing very well. Like I said, we're going to need help to help us through this this transition period. Hiring, we're hiring as much as we can. I'm sure, you know, I talked to a lot of the consultants out there, and they're in the same boat. They're also doing hiring. I know a lot of people are looking for that. You know, you're looking for that 10 to 20 years experience, and it's hard to find. So we're doing a lot of entry-level hiring. We've just hired 6 CETs. We're looking to hire at least 10 more entry-level engineering folks. So we're pushing ahead. On the COVID front, with all of your help, we've kept the program moving forward. As I've said, we've adapted. I feel we've adapted well to this whole telecommuting world. You know, we don't have some, you know, there was issues early on. I know some folks out there had issues with internet and such. We didn't have that issue in District 5, but we had those issues with the VPN because we were prepared. If this would have happened a few years earlier, we would have really been in a tough spot. But since we all have the VPN and personal laptops, we were able to transition very well. So we're very fortunate in that regard. Some of the things that really went well, I feel, are, you know, really adapted extremely well. Design meetings, keeping projects moving forward, there's project status team meetings, everything's worked very well virtually. Even the public outreach, that's been, I feel it's been very successful. We've gotten good feedback. We've had some different platforms we've used. Gone very well. I feel we've had very good public participation as well. And that's I've also gotten good feedback in that regards. So that's a good thing. As far as the funding, I know Rich kind of touched on that a little bit. I'm sure you're all aware, you know, all the different challenges we have throughout the country. It is, you know, really with PA and statewide funding. You know, PennDOT has the PennDOT Pathways initiative moving forward, and we have the bridge tolling. That's in motion. Similar to District 4, we have 2 bridge tolling candidates, I-78 Lynn Hartsville and I-80 in Whitehaven. Lynn Hartsville project is much further ahead of the Whitehaven project, but you know, we're plugging ahead on those 2, and you know, hoping that they're successful. Construction side, we have over 500 million in active construction projects. Several really large projects on the interstate. Interstate 78 specifically. We got 2 really big projects moving forward. On the design side, we're capped at about $150 million LET program this year. It's much lower for us than normal. Next year, we're going to have over $300 million worth of projects that we can let. But that's going to be determined on what the funding situation ultimately is as the end of the year approaches and we get into next year. As far as, you know, district-wide lets, you know, new projects, not a whole lot of new big projects coming out. We always have our smaller bridge projects and open ends and you know, smaller improvement type projects. So, you know, we'll see what happens with the new federal transportation bill and potential stimulus. Hearing some good things about the federal transportation bill, but we'll kind of see how that ends up and what that looks like in the end. Planning partners, they're working on new financial guidance for the TIPs. We're going to start preparing the new TIPs coming up this summer and fall. You know, so that's in motion. I know Rich is kind of dealing with the same issue on these HOPs. HOPs are super red hot for us right now. Just yesterday, there was an article in the New York Times. It was titled "A New Crop in PA Warehouses," and it was really focused on Lehigh Valley and Northern Berks. We're just dealing with a lot of development, a lot of big warehouses moving in very fast. You know, and with that comes all the different issues you deal with the truck traffic concerns. So it's definitely a challenge, and it's you know, it takes a lot of effort and work on our part, working through our HOPs and working with our planning partners. So as far as what we've been doing with just functioning on the side of the marketing, we were still always doing the marketing meetings virtual. We kept doing everything we can do virtual. We've just kept things moving forward virtually. PennDOT has it's called the PennDOT Project Collaboration Center. And what it is, it's sort of like a file sharing it works very well for construction projects, getting big submissions in, getting those approved. And in District 5, we have been, it never really worked good for design. So we've worked with some of our consulting partners and try to make it more design friendly. So we have a pilot project on that to help have one consistent database for file sharing as we move forward with some of these projects. So testing it out in some pilot projects, and so far it's working out very well. Overall, like I say again, like Rich said, we rely on consultants heavily in District 5. And just really want to thank all of you for helping us with delivering the program over this past year. Like I said, we've dealt with all the same issues that Rich has talked about, with maintenance, winter, and construction. But as far as really for this audience and the consulting community, we just want to really say thank you for everything you've done for us over the past year, and we look forward certainly to getting back to normal and starting to see some people again and have some in-person interaction. So really appreciate inviting me here to speak today, and certainly we'll be around to answer questions at the end. So thank you. I'll hand it back over to you, Amanda.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate that update as well. And on to Mike for District 6.
All right. Thank you very much, Amanda. Here's hoping Chris gets all that traffic problem with all the trucks figured out before I get a chance to get back to District 5, hopefully later on this summer. But I'll give you some numbers for District 6. I'm sure you're all familiar. District 6 is the Philadelphia region and the surrounding counties, the surrounding 4 counties, 5 counties total. By the numbers, this past year, well, in 2020, we were light in lets. That had a lot to do with the shutdown on projects being bid at the end of the calendar year. We were at $211 million, which was very, very low for District 6. We had probably $250 to $300 million worth of projects ready to go by the end of the year that did not go because we pulled the lettings. So those projects have been let, and I'll touch on this year in a minute or two. But in design, we have 341 projects programmed on our TIP, and it's a significant dollar figure, $7.6 billion, part of the DVRPC TIP. One item of note: $14.5 million of the design funds utilized for those projects do go to minority-owned businesses, which is a very good thing. Construction-wise, we have 174 projects out in construction right now for $2.5 billion. So it's a busy place, a lot of corridors being worked on right now. Got to touch on the operations side, the signals and the various corridors in the district that have adaptive signals. There's, when I was in 5, I think we got like 4 or 5 adaptive signals in some busy areas. District 6 has 345 adaptive signal systems. Over 1,700 ITS devices. If you got on our website, you'd see just a blur where you have be able to click on the various cameras. 1,700 cameras and message boards out there. And HOPs. The area is somewhat built out, but they never stop. Seems like there's always some property being redeveloped or finding a little vacant land in the outer reaches of the counties. 4,500 HOPs issued last year. So it just continues to chug along in District 6. Statewide lettings, Chris and Rich touched on this. The lettings did get pulled back. The $1.9 billion is what we're looking at this year. District 6 seems like a lot more than what maybe our share should be, but we will be at $560 million. And that accounts for that other $200 to $300 million that we had ready to go last year that didn't get to go until early this year. On average, District 6 is somewhere between $500 and $600 million. And a lot of that does have to do with some of the interstate projects we have. The DVRPC tip over the 4-year period that we're in right now varies anywhere from $775 million to $650 million. And that variability there is all about the I-95 corridor and the funding that we get for probably the $2 to $3 billion worth of projects that we eventually would want to do on the I-95 corridor in the next decade. Some other corridors that we're actively working on right now in the district, the 202 corridor, Montgomery County is where we're focused right now to finish that connection between the King of Prussia area and all the way up into Doylestown and Bucks County. Route 1 in Bucks County has a couple active projects right now, right off of the Turnpike near the Neshaminy Mall. 322 in Delaware County, we just finished one section, but we're going to bid a pretty significant bridge project along the corridor in between the limited access section of 322 near I-95. Chester County is clamoring for a corridor to start back up. We finished 202, and we just haven't been able to fit these projects into the tip. Without some additional funding, unfortunately, with the tip update, I'm not sure if we'll get there, but there's a lot of irons in the fire when it comes to funding. So we're hopeful. Chester County has the 30 corridor and the Route 1 corridor that they'd love to get onto the tip and get those moving along for some congestion management type projects. Touch on some lettings in the district, some of the things we have let or are going to be letting. These things may not seem like a real hot topic, real high profile, but boy, do we spend a lot of money in the district on ADA ramps. $25 million each year we're putting into ADA ramps. And it's all about keeping up with our paving program, both our maintenance paving program and our program off the tip. ADA ramps, as you would think, in a city setting and heavily congested suburbs, need to be addressed. 422 M1B is a project that'll come out. 95 AF2 was recently bid. Late this year, early next, we have a couple big projects that we'll have to work out along I-95. The I-95 CAP project in Philadelphia, doing something very similar to what we have in Penn's Landing, a CAP over I-95 connecting the city to Penn's Landing area south of the existing location. And CP3 is another I-95 section that between the two of them, they're $400 million. We're going to have to figure out which one of those goes first with the constraints we have with funding. The 309 connector in the Hatfield and Lansdale area is also being bid this year. A number of ITS projects also being bid later on this year. Some things we have pending for the consultant community. We do have eight pending selections. I believe they're still pending. 5 are more geared towards the inspection side, 3 on the design side. And with all these projects being bid, Harold Windish and his staff in construction, they will continue to use some project specific and some open ends. And on the design side, the 3 that we have pending, 1 is an open end and 2 are project specific. So we're going to continue to use that balance, but obviously we'll continue to use consultants primarily to do our projects and a whole lot of project management. We have an ITS project that's advertised. We have a handful of planned projects, some of those tying to the HOP side of things, the reviews of HOPs. That's a planned project. A future project not far from the district office on Valley Forge Road, a bridge project right down the road from the office. We do have some of these I guess, some active corridors with the hard shoulder running and a lot of innovative looks at how we're going to handle traffic. 76, the Schuylkill Expressway from 202 all the way down to the Boulevard in Philly. We're looking at flex lanes. We just did the variable speed limit signs went live. That's a work in progress, getting them really fine-tuned, but it's something we're hopeful will really work well for us. The Blue Route from Route 3 down to I-95, we're looking at hard shoulder running. And then also 422, 30 sections of I-95, we're looking at all those corridors in a study phase to do some work there with some utilizing the space we have and getting a little more traffic through there. We're also the pilot, Green Light Go pilot, for taking over some traffic signal systems. We let one contract through the Upper Marion, Lower Marion area where we're working on some signals that we will ultimately take over. But the big corridor will be along the Schuylkill when we get into Ridge Avenue in Philadelphia would be the big one that will really take over some significant signals. I got to touch on the P3 bridge. Ours is the Gerard Point Bridge. Sure, we're all fairly familiar with it if you're in the Philadelphia area. It's the double-decker bridge that takes you from the airport, Delaware County, up into the city. That is our P3 project. Carries about 150,000 vehicles a day. So this would be a very expensive project. We'd be going from Island Avenue up to Packer Avenue with our project, which is about 5 miles. And we're looking at a price tag of in the ballpark $400 to $500 million for that project. So I will pass the floor to Mark Compton and Amanda, but thank you all.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. And any of you know the word or the name Fred Capps? Does anyone understand the name Fred Capps? Well, Fred Capps was a magician that had to follow the Beatles. And every time I follow my brother from PennDOT, I always feel like Fred Capps. And hey, listen, I know we have a hard stop here at 11:50, so I'm just going to be very brief here with you. But it's good to be with my colleagues from PennDOT, and great to see them again. The pandemic is, we are coming out of it, as you all are too. Just to give you a sense of where we're at with traffic. If you compare this week over basically where we should be, used to say last year at this time, but last year at this time we were in the pandemic. Right now we're down about 12% in revenue and about 15% in traffic. So what that tells you is commercial traffic is up. It's up about 4% on where it was at this point where it should have been last year. So that's a very good thing for us. I must tell you though, accidents are also right now through the roof. So we are monitoring that closely. A lot of construction accidents right now. It's almost like what I liken it to is the first weekend snowstorm, first snowstorm you get, you always seem to get more accidents because folks forget how to drive in the snow. Well, right now what we're seeing is folks are forgetting to drive in traffic. So just ask you to caution that, and anyone you talk to, please know that we're seeing that across the system, just to hammer home the safety message. Right now, the pandemic has basically cost us about $350 million in revenue since the start. So our traffic and revenue consultants are telling us it could probably be a $400 to $500 million event until we get ourselves back to where we should be in numbers, and it's really turning out to be so. But the folks, my colleagues here across the commission, a couple of our commissioners are managing the organization well. And last year, actually, this is the end of our fiscal year, May 31st. We started a new fiscal year. So in that, both the operating and the capital plan have been approved. And we have just had the fortune to have a $6.7 billion 10-year capital plan approved. That is up to a certain degree of what it was last year. Last year, we approved the plan in September based on waiting to get through some of the key indicators of the pandemic. So it's still an apples to apples. It was a 12-month budget, but in doing so, we are up now and able to put more into the capital, into the roadway. So that's a good thing for all of us, as well as our partners, and as other folks have indicated, you guys have been key partners for us in the effort. So just to give you a sense of a few key design projects that we have coming out, Delaware River Bridge is one that we continue to partner and work on with New Jersey, who we are joint owners with. So I know the 20% design project is already in, but we look to get to other areas of design in that hopefully within the next year or so. We also have Turnpike 43, Monfayette Expressway is also about to come out, and many of you know on the construction side, 22 to 79 is about done, and we look forward to opening that up yet this fall. Scranton Beltway, the southern section interchange of that, is also set to come out this year, and we made the decision to continue the push on the broadband fiber network. So those projects will be coming out this year. And also wanted to let you know there are some key construction. So there's construction services that will be coming out as part of that. Hawk Falls Bridge replacement, Beaver River Bridge, Blue Kittentini, I should be able to say that, I've been here 8 years now. Tunnel rehab, milepost 312 to 316, 324 to 326, and also the open road tolling conversion project. So will be out as well. I also too wanted to put a plug in for the PennDOT tolling program. I'm honored to be partnered with them as the Turnpike. I am part of the Turnpike. We will be doing the in-lane and the back office services for the bridges. So I just want to thank the secretary, our chair, Ken McLean, all the DEs, Mike Kaiser, and Melissa Petula for allowing us to partner in that project. We're excited to be part of it. Gives us a new way to focus, and as we now will be bonding for our last year of Act 44, another way to serve the Commonwealth. So we're excited about that. So with that, I'll yield back the 1 minute we have left to Amanda to see if there's a question, but I know you had a hard stop at 11:50. So with that, Amanda, I will yield the time back to you.
Well, I think we're going to kick off the questions. We can get the whole panel back up here. I would like to pose the questions out to the three DEs along with Mark. And first one we had here, which got the most votes, was with the ongoing funding conversation in Washington, D.C., what do you see as the most realistic outcome for Pennsylvania's federal funding?
Who would you like to take that, James?
Anybody who wants to, well, Mark, you spoke first.
So I think now we do have a real opportunity, and we're excited for the discussions and conversations that are happening in Washington right now. I think just like the T-Rock, which we have another meeting this afternoon that the governor assembled, into the push really has to be from getting away from gas taxes, because that is one of diminishing returns. So we hope in the short term that they take a look at some of the MBUFs, some of the mileage-based user fee concepts, and some of the things in push around electric vehicles to really start to yield results in those areas. Because with the car you're driving today versus where it was when you took your driver's test, it's the gas tax is diminishing returns. So we all need to find other opportunities to get through that. And we as a tolling entity, and also working with our partners in PennDOT, do see tolling as a key part of that solution, because we here at Pennsylvania were mileage based in 1940 when we opened the roadway.
Tying right into that statement, Mark, one of the other questions was, what do you envision some of the challenges being moving away from a gas tax right now?
Well, the collection is a big part of those challenges. And then the idea that, we use an Easy Pass transponder. If you're doing that type of concept throughout local roads, what does that look like? Is there apparatus that has to go into different areas on poles, those sort of things? Or what's the apparatus that you have to collect within the car to collect? So there's a couple of different things that these pilots are looking at. One is every time you get gas, you put your mileage in. You pay it that way. Another is doing inspections. You pay it kind of on an annual basis. And third is a certain type of transponder that collects it. So when you're having these discussions, that seems to be the biggest thing to get over, and to get folks in that whole big brother syndrome and what that would look like.
Thanks. I want to throw this question out to the three district executives. As we move on from COVID, what new business practices do you feel will become more of the norm in your organizations?
I'll touch on it first. I think being in 5 and 6, where we have a lot of consultant inspectors and designers. I think Rich is seeing it in 4 also. Having everybody in a big conference room, going through what we would call either our let schedule or our milestones meetings, probably is not going to be happening anymore. We've handled it all pretty well through COVID. Haven't missed too many let dates for things under our control. So I would think we're going to continue to do that and save everybody that travel time. You're spending better part of half a day to get from Harrisburg to Allentown or down into the city or King of Prussia. It's really not needed. Hopefully we'll all be able to continue to electronically sign documents too. That's a lot of wasted people shuttling things back and forth, sending things FedEx, and if you can do it electronically, that's huge. So,
Hey, Mike, can I just make sure you guys, especially down your way, if you have commuters that use the Turnpike every day, can you mandate they come back to the office every day, please? I need the traffic back.
done deal. Yep. All right, all you consultants that are leaving Harrisburg headed to Philly, you got to come in on the Turnpike.
Thank you, brother.
Sure, got your back.
Anybody else want to take this question on, or you think we're pretty good on that one?
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I think, the days of having these really big meetings in the office in a big conference room are going to be a thing of the past. I think, we've shown that that's one thing that the technology's there. It's been successful. It's been the one thing that we've been very successful with. And that goes for, big design level meetings, people driving from Harrisburg or consultants coming in from all over. Just don't see it going back to having these big, large meetings.
Okay, Amanda's indicated we can go to the top of the hour, so we'll take advantage of the fact that we have you gentlemen with us. The P3 projects being discussed in Harrisburg involved the 3 districts in the meeting today. How will this affect your program, and what is the public's opinion of potential tolling of these structures?
I can start with that one since, we have, as I mentioned, we have 2 of those bridges in District 4 on I-81 and I-80. And since the program has been announced, we have done a lot of public involvement, speaking with our partners, speaking with the public, anybody that will, chambers of commerce. And I think, to me, what I see, everybody knows we need the fund transportation, but nobody really has that solution on what's the best way to do it. We hear a lot of negativity on our 2 bridges here in District 4, and it revolves around, we already have a very substantial gas tax. Now you're going to add another tax or toll, whatever term you want to use, and it comes back. A lot of it's negative, but when we get through the emotions of it and talk about it with cooler heads, I usually ask people, okay, you may not like the tolling of these 9 bridges. You just said, we know we need the fund transportation. How do we go about that? And to me, as Mark said, it's diminishing returns with the gas tax, but doing nothing isn't an option either, or it's just going to come up and grab us. So to me, it's been a lot of negativity and a lot of, talking about the highest gas tax in the country and things like that. And we need to be more efficient. And I think over the years we have been more efficient, but I don't know if we could be as efficient as we can and save a couple $2 billion a year. I don't think we're that inefficient, you know what I mean? So it's a struggle to get through the initial, oh my gosh, another tax in Pennsylvania.
Just Rich is right on point. The one thing with how does it impact our program? These are all interstate bridges, so there's a separate interstate tip involved here. But the hope is that if this freeing up that money, because when we did our last, tip development, there was money taken out of the regions and allocated towards the interstate. So there's some hope as we move forward that if this becomes successful, that some of that money may get reallocated. But as far as how it impacts the program right now, it's all on the interstate tip program.
Yeah, I'll just touch on the Philly project real quick. We had a real good meeting with the city of Philadelphia and the airport recently. Secretary was on there, Ken McLean, and they seem to understand. Obviously, everybody's a little leery that, you know, some folks are going to be paying a toll, but I think there is the reality. They realize what we need to continue to do what we do in the district, and it takes a lot of money. There's a lot of people that live here. I think they get it. I think the Philadelphia region's waiting to see what happens in the rest of the state and with legislation. I don't believe they'd be real happy if Girard Point was the last bridge standing as being tolled. Then I don't think that would fly. But if things work out everywhere else, I feel real good about what we've been hearing in District 6.
Okay. Do you believe Act 89's provisions remain adequate to address the current project backlog and future needs?
Been working on the decade of investment for over, well, almost a decade, and we haven't completed 80% of them. The paving projects that we're doing now with and tip projects that we're doing, we've lost, I guess, our momentum when it comes from Act 89. I don't believe it's enough. It isn't enough. You know, that's why we have the T-Rock and we have the P3 going. Act 89 relied on the gas tax, and it's not reliable.
Act 89 at the time, even with the TFAC that was a precursor to Act 89, identified an $8 billion gap. Act 89, as good as it was, the largest bill of its type for infrastructure, was a $3 billion bill. So even whenever that was voted on, they knew there was a significant gap.
Okay, one last question, gentlemen. How do you balance the routine work with crisis management? Are there any tools or tips you would suggest?
Surround yourself with real good people. Goes a long way.
I'm probably not the best to answer that because in District 4 over the last 6 weeks, I think we've had 2 emergencies each week. So I'm not sure what routine is right now.
Stay true to your strategic plan. Make sure you have your folks set to that true north. And then while whoever has to focus on the crisis, the rest of the organization has to focus on making sure they're getting through the day-to-day. Through that, you'll find the effort that there's got to be a mix in all of that. But that's been one of the things that we really strive to do here.
I don't think there's any secret to it. You just really, like what everyone said, you just have to have good people working around you. You know, so we good consultants ready to help us out. And just, you know, put your focus on it and make sure the other work's getting done. You know, you got to prioritize.
Well, Chris, Rich, I want to thank you all for taking the time to meet with us today, sharing information about your districts and the system for